Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to No Credits Needed. This is the podcast about creativity where I interview a bunch of different creative people. We talk about their creative journey, their creative life, and we generally try to walk away with some sort of life lesson, some sort of creative lesson from them that we can apply to our own life. If you're a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. And if you're new here, I hope you enjoy the episode. I hope this is for you, and I'm excited to have you here. Today's episode is episode 9 of the podcast. So we just have this episode and then next week's episode, episode 10, and we're done. We're going to take a little bit of a break, a little bit of a hiatus, and I think it's much needed. I didn't realize when I timed out and scheduled the podcast that we were going to end when next week, how perfect that ending was going to be, because again, just segue into the update for me. We're going to start production on my own short film at school, which is going to be really exciting, but also really time consuming, which obviously will take some time away from the podcast. And just a couple of days ago, I got an email from that production company that I told you guys a while back that I actually got hired. And I'm really excited to do that. It's going to be a show that's going to be on Amazon. I'm going to be a production assistant, which is basically the lowest rung on the ladder, but I'm just excited to be on set and be around those people. I actually start work on Thursday, so I'm going to tell you guys how that goes on the next episode. And yeah, so all those things combined, it's just it's a lot of work to keep the podcast going for more than 10 episodes. So I'm so happy that I scheduled it this way. It's going to work out really great. We're going to end next week, but it's only me here, but I'm planning to release an episode every week, even if it's not an interview, maybe just a short style, 15 to 30 minute update talking about how I'm doing, and we might get into maybe some Q&As. I think that'd be interesting. But stay tuned for that. I'm not going to leave this feed completely dead like I've done in the past. I've kind of learned my lesson from that. But as far as interviews go, we only got 2 interviews left in this season, and then season 5 will pick up about a month and a half later. I realized last week that my intro took up so much time of the episode, and I feel really embarrassed when I was editing it, and I was like, dude, just shut the fuck up already and get into the episode. So this is what I'm going to do right now. I am going to shut the fuck up, and I'm going to get into who is the guest for today. Today we have Beto Leyva, and he is such a cool dude. And the way I know him is he is my wife's cousin. We actually met years back when my wife and I first started dating. We met at a quinceañera, I believe was the first time I actually had a conversation with him. I don't want to get into all those details. We talk about that in the episode. He's in a band with his dad, and the name of the band is called Conjunto Recado, and the type of genre that they're in is banda. So you guys should definitely go check them out. The links for their Apple Music and Spotify is going to be in the description. They also have a YouTube channel, so make sure you guys go check out their videos, download it, whatever you got to do to interact with their content. I'm sure they're going to really appreciate it, so check them out. They're really, really talented musicians, and we talk about how they got into it. We talk about the thing that really interested me the most was the dynamic between him and his dad and how that works out. And it's a really beautiful dynamic, and we really get into that, and it's a nice story. It's nice to hear, and I'm glad we got to talk about that as well. They're doing really, really well right now, and I think they're just going to keep going up from here. So I'm just excited I got to talk to him and have a conversation. I swear, I feel like him and we could have talked for 3 hours. The conversation was just going so well, we just had to end it. But I hope you guys enjoy it. Before we get into it, just make sure you guys go to nocreditsneeded.com. That's where you're going to find everything related to the podcast. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like the video. Do all the things that you got to do. It all really helps out. And go check out Beto Leyva's work with his band. And okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. And yeah, without any further ado, here's Beto Leyva from Conjunto Recado. And I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Dude, I remember talking to you at some quinceañeras sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like the only times we've actually talked have been at quinceañeras. And I remember I just met you at a party. You're my wife's cousin. And I hadn't seen you in a while. And then we went to another quinceañera, and Andrea's like, "Have you seen Gil?" I was like, "Oh no, where is he? We had a good conversation last time. We should talk." She's like, "No, he's on stage." I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" I didn't know what in that conversation we had. We didn't talk about music or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's how I realized you were into music and you had the band. I'm just kind of curious. Take us through the story. How'd you guys get started in music?
Well, it all started pretty early in my life, dude. I grew up with with my dad. My dad's a musician. He's been a musician for 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in Mexico in a little ranch.
Mm.
So it was, it was a poor living. So we didn't have money for, much,
Mm-hmm.
so, but we always grew up listening to norteño, which is kind of, like a northern music for Mexicans.
Yeah.
And I always grew up, listening to that type of music, and I was always into. Um, when I turned like 5 or 6, I learned how to play the drums because my cousin was a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of kicked it off. I started getting into, I playing the guitar, playing the piano, and then when I was about 10 years old, I moved in here to Cali.
Mm-hmm.
We came straight to Cali. Um, that was in '06. Um, I remember my dad wanted me to continue with the music, but we didn't like. I wasn't really into it. I was kind of like a skater and trying to be with the crowd and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was hard for me to focus because I was just a young teenager,
Yeah.
or even just an older kid. Um, and one time we were at the swap meet, dude, and I go, Dad, I want a scooter. Like I want that scooter over there so I can go to school, whatever. He's all like, all right, well, I'll buy you the scooter, but first you're gonna learn how to play the accordion.
Oh shit.
And yeah, so I was like,
You're
all
like,
right,
I want that fucking scooter.
yeah, dude. I was like, yeah, whatever. So at the entrance of the swap meet, there was an older man selling instruments,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a couple of accordions. So we went, bought my scooter, and I was riding my scooter happy, like
Yeah.
any little kid. And then when we walked out, my dad said like, hey,
You
we
made
have a deal.
promise.
Yeah, he's like, we have a deal. So he bought me a like a little $300 accordion. At that time, it was like a lot, but
Yeah, yeah.
it was a starting point. And then when we got to the house, that's when he's all like, hey, you're not gonna be playing around because we have a deal. So every day, dude, for since I was 10 years old, I've dedicated at least an hour of my day to practicing.
Oh shit.
So,
That's pretty cool.
dude, that's when I kind of like started getting into it a little bit, but everything started like getting a little bit more serious. My dad joined a band from San Fernando Valley.
Mm-hmm.
This band, it was a bunch of older people, dude. Everybody was my dad's. I think my dad was the youngest one in it. So, everything was kind of like awkward with them. So, I wasn't really into it, but they were paying me money, dude.
Oh, so he invited you into the band that he got into?
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad was like, you know what? Well, since the music we play, it's both accordion and sax,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad and we already had a couple songs. So he told the the owners of the band, like, hey, I have a kid. He's only like 11, 12 years old, but he knows how to play a couple songs.
Mm-hmm.
So they invited me. They were paying me like $20 an hour.
Oh shit. Back when
Which,
you were 11,
yeah,
that's
back when I was 11, I was like, dude, this is money,
yeah.
Like, and
Like
my
20 an hour now is like a good living, and
yeah.
like, geez.
So for that, I was like, you know what, it's cool, and my dad was happy because that's money that didn't come out of his pocket,
Mm-hmm.
to send me to school.
Yeah.
So that lasted a couple of years, and then we went back to Mexico, 2012 around there.
Mm-hmm.
So we tried to start our own band over there. It didn't work out. It was just up in the ranch in the mountains. It's just there's very little people or knowledge
Yeah.
on how to play an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
We tried it over there. It didn't work out.
Mhm.
We only had a couple gigs, and everything was everything we were getting out of it was going right back in it.
Yeah.
So we decided to come back to Cali again.
You guys moved to Mexico with moved back to Mexico with the intention of starting the band?
Of starting the band, yeah. So
Oh.
that it had always been like my dad's dream to have his own band.
Mm-hmm.
He's just he never really worked well with other people kind of like ripping him off,
Mm.
because it might sound expensive, but a musician should be making between $60 and $80 starting an hour.
Sound about right, because like
So
you don't have gigs like,
yeah,
24/7, right? Yeah,
24/7 exactly. It's not like a 8 hour a day
exactly.
job. So um and plus, learning everything it takes a lot of time. Like I
Hmm.
said, I work every day on music. I practice every day and try to dedicate, some time, at least an hour, to at least learning a new song or
Hmm.
going over the ones I already have. So
Do you think your dad made that deal with you because like he knew that you had it in your blood? Like he saw that like you really
I
liked it, or he really wanted an accordion player in his band?
no, I think he knew that we were, well, my brother too, like we kind of have that talent,
Hmm.
natural talent of learning an instrument quick.
Yeah.
Like if I grab any instrument, I'll play some notes.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I'm pretty sure that first time I saw you on stage, you were playing the guitar, I believe, and then like cut to a few years later, I see your music videos and you're playing the accordion. And I was like, this guy, and you're singing too. Like this guy
Yeah,
does everything.
yeah. So when we came back from Mexico, I had all the intentions to start a new band. I
Hmm.
didn't know how it was gonna go. I thought it was just gonna be like a backyard, you know, gig band.
Yeah.
Just playing for fun.
Hmm.
And then things started getting really serious in like 2016. We started getting way too many gigs and our prices started going up. And then I was like, like we got to record something.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna be fair for us to charge more, with
If you don't have
no
like
material.
exactly.
Like everything was gonna be a little bit awkward for that. And then we started recording. We recorded a CD with this beginner. He now works for Disney. He's a sound engineer.
Oh, nice.
So he was working at he was studying at a university in Long Beach.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know which one is it called. It's the StubHub Center,
I don't know, but
but it's a big university. He was there. He had a career for like 4 years that he had to be taking his
hmm.
classes, and right before he graduated, he needed a project that he had recorded at the studio.
Uh,
So he told me, he's like, hey dude, like, are you down? Like, he's like, it's not gonna come out cute because
yeah.
we don't have all the equipment at the studio, but it'll be something. I'm like, yeah, dude, let's do it.
Was it a friend of yours that
It
or
was
like how did that?
we used to rent the sound system from his dad,
Okay.
so that's how we kind of knew each other.
It's like it's so weird because like I do stand up, I do a couple like things here and there, like and it in this type of like living, the more people you know, the better. Like
Yeah,
the amount of like opportunities that I've had because like a friend of a friend, like, oh, saw that Josue works pretty well, like I'm gonna recommend him. Like that's just crazy
yeah,
because like you can go to school to study all these other things, but actually like going and doing the work and meeting the people, like that is really worth a lot.
yeah. It's worth every single second that you
Yeah.
that you take to meet the person, dude.
Hmm.
And a lot of the things is that you have to be very, very very friendly with everybody because you don't know who they might know.
Yeah, it's that part too. Like you don't know who they might know, but also like if you're ever doing a project and you need someone like to
They'll probably know
sub
someone.
in, yeah,
Yeah,
they'll know someone or you know someone. Like
yeah,
you just start building like your like your tree of people that you
yeah,
know.
yeah. And it's pretty cool, dude, because like you're saying, when I started in with the band, I didn't know anybody, dude. Like I was I was maybe 18 when I started the band.
Hmm.
That like we started just messing around and playing here and there, and then by the time I hit 20, I started getting into clubs. The
Hmm.
band had been together for about a year and a half, and then that's where it kind of gets serious because if you're gonna be playing at a club, you know people want to listen to clean music,
Hmm.
something that it's gonna remind them of the childhood song or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's if once you come to that point, you start realizing how unprofessional you sound.
Oh, I know.
Like then that you start noticing, like, oh crap, we have to have sets of songs.
Yeah.
We have to play maybe a couple songs all one after another, so
Hmm.
people don't really like go back to sit down. We have to entertain. Well, it's an
It's
entertainment
entertainment,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Because like if you don't do it properly, they're not going to invite you back to play.
they're not.
But if
They're
they
not.
see that everyone's like dancing and having a good time,
They'll invite you back and they'll
yeah.
even pay you more.
They'll pay you more, like, and the amount of times I've been at a party when, like, the music's good and the party's supposed to end at 11 and they're like, "Fuck it, let's pay them till 3 in the morning."
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly, and it's happened. I think the most hours we ever played was like about 8 hours,
Shit.
and it's a lot, dude. But
So, yeah, but, like,
it's
all the rehearsing that goes into that, like, you don't perform every night, I'm guessing,
no,
but, like, those nights, like, really make it super worth it, I
yeah,
guess. Like, in terms of money, but also just the pleasure of being in front of people.
of playing. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people misunderstand about music, and like they just do it because of the money.
Mm.
But in reality, it's more like you have to do it because you enjoy doing it. Otherwise, people are gonna notice.
Well, yeah, because like it's not like I feel like people tend to think that the entertainment industry is like it's fun, like easy going, but
No.
like you have to like really be into it because it's like it's a really hard gig, whether you're a musician,
Yeah.
filmmaker, whatever. Like there's long days of rehearsing. You have if you have a team, like no matter how good your team is, there's gonna be a little bit of friction there. Like
Yeah.
you got to work stuff out. And then they get to see you have fun on stage for, five,
Yeah.
6 hours at a time, but they don't know all this other stuff that's going on.
Everything else that went on the side, dude.
Yeah.
The practice is trying to get everybody together. I think that's one of the hardest things, trying to get everybody in the same page.
Hmm.
Because after all, when you're doing, let's say, for example, you do stand up.
Yeah.
It's just you by yourself on
Mm.
the stage. You and the audience.
Mhm.
Um, it's not hard for you to find a lot of time to go over jokes or do your
I
setup.
can do it whenever I want.
Yeah, now try to get five people together at the same time
5 people
playing.
that on top of that, I'm guessing everyone has, like, a day job that they're working
Everybody,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody has a day job, so I kind of have to, for rehearsals, I have to kind of put a day every week
Mhm.
to for them to make time for that, because if I'm trying to find the time from them,
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen. It's
Yeah.
just it's really difficult to get five people to be on the same page. But
Because you're saying that you set the time, and then a couple times you said that you had started the band. Like, is this a band that you and your dad started together, or did you get the
yeah,
gears rolling, or
yeah,
how did it
pretty
work out?
much. I before that I was working for a couple of bands that I just used to help out, but I didn't like working with them because, like I said, they were kind of just ripping people off.
Mm.
They would charge a lot. They'd go for let's you know $2,000,
Yeah.
and they'll pay the musicians $80 an hour. you know, at the end of the day, you walk out with $300, and the owners walking out with $1,000, $1,200,
Mhm.
and it's very unfair.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make a band that it was fair for everybody in the band.
Mhm.
Like if we were gonna make money, everybody was gonna make money, and if we came to a loss, everybody was gonna lose.
Mm.
And to find musicians that would work with that, it was a little bit hard,
Yeah.
because not everybody is willing to risk it.
Well, it's kind of like starting a business because, like, when you're an employee, you don't carry the risk. Like, you get the pay. It might be less than what your boss is making, but you get the pay every week.
Yeah.
But if you're starting a business, like, you could make a really good money, but
Or
also
you
if
could,
if you if you lose, everyone loses with you.
yeah,
And I'm assuming that's kind of like what you were going for.
pretty much, yeah. Yeah, because I do all the work that they don't do.
Hmm.
For them, the work is a little bit easier. All they have to do, just show up with their homework made.
Mm.
If I said, let's play these three songs next week, for rehearsals, well, just have them ready, and that's pretty much all they have to do.
Yeah.
For me, it's more of, I have to dedicate at least an hour, hour and a half to social media every day.
I was gonna ask you that, yeah, because like I looked at your Instagram account, and then you guys have the band account,
Yeah,
and then I looked at your YouTube channel, and like I can see the progression of like 2016 when you guys started posting on YouTube.
yeah,
Uh, you're posting maybe like once every couple months and stuff like that, and now I see you like posting YouTube shorts and reels, like introducing the
yeah.
band and all that stuff. I was wondering, like I was like, it's either you or you guys have someone that you guys hired to do the social media, and I was gonna.
So I started the band with my dad and a friend. He was a drummer.
Mhm.
Um, he did a lot of work, in social media, because he had a little bit of more free time,
Mhm.
and he would help me out in that. But um, he got out about, I want to say, about 6 months ago,
Mhm.
that he left the band, and for me to try to get like everything set up, take over all his work that he had,
Yeah.
trying to still deal, doing my homework for the band and still taking care of my day job and, trying to manage my time all around. It's been a little hard, but I'm trying to like post at least once in a while on my channel on YouTube, because there was a time where we were getting subscribers like every week, and then we stopped posting, and it just went to like every other week, every month.
Tell me about it. Like, okay, we're talking about the entertainment industry. People think it's easy. Social media is something that I thought was easy. And I'm just like, oh, like, I have an Instagram account. I'll just, manage my podcast account or like stand-up account, whatever it is. And then you realize like, oh, if you want people to keep coming back, you have to keep giving them what they want over
Dude.
and over and over. And I was like, this is like, I mean, obviously like it's a job. Like people study this and like, and do it full time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
dude, it's I thought the same thing, I thought it was easy, but nah, dude, it's a job, man. It's a job that requires time, and it requires a lot of skills,
Mhm.
because if you're a shitty editor, you're not gonna get it very far, man.
Yeah.
You kind of have to have some sort of idea of at least putting something entertaining, or even a title.
Mhm.
You have to find out how to look for a good title to reel the people in.
Dude, today, like I was posting something on the podcast page to promote like that is going to come out next week, and I couldn't figure out how to do something specific on the Instagram, and like I asked Andrea, and she didn't know how to do it either, and then my sister like overheard the conversation, and she comes in my room, she's like, dude, just press this button, do this here. I was like, oh my God, I'm old. I'm getting to the point now where like my little sister is the one that's like educating me on this, which is honestly, it's really humbling, and it's great to like learn all these
Yeah,
things. Yeah.
yeah, that's a good thing though. We're still at an age where we can actually learn.
Yeah.
But it's gonna come a point where we're gonna have to give out.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, hopefully it'll get to the point where like you don't have to worry about that stuff. Like you have someone that's doing it for you. And I feel like that's kind of the goal, where all you got to worry about is you do your music,
the music,
you carry your band in the direction you want, and then other people take care of this other stuff. But at
yeah,
the beginning, it's kind of
it's hard, man. It's difficult to find the time.
yeah.
Especially when we're just trying to make a living as well in a day job. If by any chance you live with your parents, or somebody can take care of the bills,
Mhm.
you can dedicate more time to taking care of this. And I'm sure it makes a living, man. You just have to keep up with the post and all that.
Yeah.
But like you said, outsourcing, dude.
Yeah.
Outsourcing is pretty much everything. I started hiring a video camera guy, because it was just it's hard when I'm playing. I have a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
I have to sing. I play the accordion. I have to make sure everybody's on the same page. I have to choose the songs for I'm like halfway down the song, and I already have to be thinking of which
Mhm.
song am I gonna play next, and let everybody know. On top of that, I'm in charge of the mix.
Oh,
So my mixer, I have to make sure that you know
everything while it's live?
yeah.
Oh shit.
So it's it's something you have to get used to.
Mhm.
And I just couldn't do social media, man.
Mhm.
I would put my phone on a tripod and try to record a little bit,
It's the
but
best you can do.
it was just boring videos.
Mhm.
So I started reaching out to some of the fans, and I'm like, hey, if you recorded a video, send it over. I'll
Mhm.
tag you. I'll
Mhm.
but I just need the video just so I can get a different perspective on when we're on stage.
Yeah.
And then a buddy of mine came through. He's all like, hey, he's like, I'm trying to like start my own video company.
Mhm.
So if you guys give me a shot, I can take care of the social media while taking videos and pictures, and so I can like start editing, some
Mhm.
online or some on-field experience. So I'm like, yeah, dude, for sure.
It all goes back to knowing people, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, it worked out for both of us, because he's making a little bit of money.
Mhm.
And then, I don't have to worry about, social media while I'm playing.
Well, I mean, because you signed up to be a musician, not a social media manager. So,
Exactly.
I mean, while you needed to do it, great. But like, if you can ever outsource it, that's perfect. Because like your craft becomes better because like
Yeah.
you're working on what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna point out, like I had to write it down. You guys had that music video, Si se acabara el mundo.
Yeah.
I looked on your YouTube channel and I couldn't see any music video like similar to that, like of that like quality, like the video of it. That music video is the first music video I saw of you guys, and I thought it was really really well made. Like, is
Yeah.
that person involved, or did you guys get some other
No,
like
we
production company
we
to do
we
it?
actually hired somebody a company to record that video. They actually do they that's basically, well, the owner is an entrepreneur
Hmm.
and he has many businesses, but that's one of his like hobbies
Hmm.
that he made into a business.
Got it.
So he has a couple of, yeah, I believe he's got like 3 or 4 cameramen, but he has an entire equipment of, he has 2 full vans of everything that he needs: video
Hmm.
cameras, picture cameras, lights. He's even got generators in the vans and everything. And they travel. They go to Jalisco, Mexico. They go to Sinaloa and record videos for other bands.
I looked at that YouTube channel where that one's posted because I don't think it's posted on your guys' YouTube channel.
No.
It's posted on
Yeah.
theirs.
Well, I no, we did upload it to
Yeah,
ours,
okay,
but it was a few weeks after that he
got
had
it.
uploaded it to his. I think though he started a fresh YouTube channel
Hmm.
with the video because the music that he usually records, it's like more like corridos.
Okay.
So it was a different genre. So
Hmm.
he wanted to start a new channel. I don't think he ever followed up with more videos on that channel, but I think um his channel is called Levemente Films.
Hmm.
And he's got a lot more. He's got quite a few followers.
Hmm.
And you can see his videos there. They're really good, man.
Yeah.
The cameraman that recorded our video, he's a buddy of ours.
Hmm.
Name's Danny. Super good editor, and he's really good cameraman. Super cool guy, man.
Yeah, I was gonna ask because like you have the history of all the YouTube videos on your channel,
Yeah,
going all the way back to I think 2016 was
yeah,
like the first one, and you can see how the quality is going up, and you can
yeah,
see like when you guys started playing like larger venues and all these things, and you can see exactly what you're saying. Like sometimes you just had to set the camera up on a tripod, and that was the video, right?
yeah,
And you can clearly tell that I think it might have been you or someone in the band wanted to actually do the next step and hire someone to make a professional music video, and that makes a huge difference because you can put that on your YouTube channel. I think I must have seen it on his, but if it's on yours,
yeah.
like um, people share that like so
It's
much.
it's credibility, man.
Yeah,
It gives you a lot of credibility because fans actually start looking at you like, oh, okay, he's taking it serious.
yeah.
It's not like this is just something, extra for him.
Hmm.
Like he's dedicating time, and we had to, like, it took about 3 months to do the video, because before the video we had to have the song recorded.
Yeah.
So that took about, well, even before that, you have to choose a good song,
Hmm.
because if you do a good video for a shitty song, you know
Well,
like
first of all, you want people to like search it to get
yeah,
to you. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So um after that we recorded the song in the after they mastered the song and everything. It took, I want to say, about 3 weeks for them to finish it and get it back to us.
Hmm.
um After that we had to schedule the video with the production. um and they were, limited on time, because I think during this time was, if I'm not mistaken, it was right before COVID hit.
Okay.
So, if I'm not mistaken, um, so everybody, was really busy. Everybody was booked.
Hmm.
Nobody knew what was coming. So it was hard to find it. So we recorded that video till, if I'm not mistaken, it was around December or January,
Hmm.
and the video wasn't released till like March.
Yeah.
Almost March, February or March, I can't remember. But it's just a lapse of time since like November to
Hmm.
like February when the video was finished that we actually got it done.
Yeah, dude, that it's like the amount of work that goes into a music video is also insane. Like I've been going back to school to study like film, and one of the things that I learned like first day of is just like, oh, a movie might be done on this day, but the editing, the audio mixing, the color editing, like all of that takes like so long. And a music video, even if it's like maybe 3 to 5 minutes long, it still takes months until they get it out.
Yeah.
Especially if they run a production company because they got other
They
stuff to.
have a lot more
Yeah.
videos, man. They record videos almost every day.
That's crazy.
So, for a production of that magnitude, and it's a small production,
Mhm.
it's not, something that takes hours. It's just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And even so, they took about a month to edit our video.
Mhm.
And when it came out, I was like, dude, that it looks
It looks
really
it
good, dude.
looks really, really nice. Yeah, like you said, it gives you guys a ton of credibility.
Yeah,
Um, and so I was looking at the stuff that you have on Apple Music and on Spotify, and I'll link all that stuff so everyone can get to hear it.
cool.
I think you have, is it 6 songs on there? Is it 5 or 6?
Now I believe it's 6. We just
6.
uploaded one in, I think it was Thursday last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And you uploaded them, I think, starting 2018, and they're all singles right now.
they're all singles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is one of the things that changed from back in the day
Mm-hmm.
when everybody used to record CDs.
Yeah.
It was an entire album
Mm-hmm.
because that you wanted to sell the CD. You were making $30, $40 per sale. Now people, they don't really buy that. They just go to the Apple store or whatever. They just buy the song they like.
Yeah.
So what I found to be a little bit more that works a little bit better is be releasing a song every couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to release a song every couple months, you need a lot of money, dude. Because production to record it,
Yeah.
it becomes very expensive. We tried it once.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, we have to be better set up for this.
Yeah.
And then, but right now we're back at it, dude. Now that right after that video that music video that we did,
Mm-hmm.
we had another song, and then pandemic hit,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything was just dead for a year. We didn't have a single gig for a year, so I was like, dude, I wish I could record more songs, but honestly, like we didn't have the funds to it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because like the gigs is what keeps funding the
exactly,
band. Yeah.
yeah. So if there's no work, everybody kind of needs the money to be surviving on pandemic. So it got
Yeah.
a little hard, but right after it, the right after that pandemic kind of just started fading away a little bit. Work started picking up a lot, and I started saving money. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, we have production going on like at least once a month, like where we dedicate a whole week to learning and perfecting a song, so we can take it to the studio, record it, so we can have material to be uploading at least every month or every month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is that your vision like for the band? Like, are you the
Yeah.
one telling them like, look, guys, this is what sells. This is what we have to do.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah. So to choose the songs, which basically I want to get, you want to get a song from different people. Like
Mm-hmm.
I asked one of my musicians, like each one of my musicians, come up with a song, bring it to the table, we'll listen to it, and we'll vote on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody has, like, I might like a certain style, but my drummer likes another different type of style.
Mm-hmm.
This last song that we recorded, Algo Sin Igual,
Mm-hmm.
that's from 1999, dude. Quebradita.
I looked them up. Yeah.
So that came from my drummer.
Mm-hmm.
He's all like, hey, dude, um, he's like, I'm gonna send you a link to a song that I really want to record. He's like, if you don't want to pay for it, I'll pay for it, but I really want to record it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, no, dude, send it.
Mm-hmm.
Send it my way. I'll take a look at it. He's like, all right, boy, I gotta tell you. He's like, be open minded. He's like, because it's quebradita, dude, and it might sound a little weird, but just be open minded. Listen to the lyrics and listen to the song a few times so you get the hang of it. So I was like, all right, dude, let's give it a shot. And it came out pretty good, dude.
Yeah. So like, I when I looked at your stuff on Apple Music, I heard, the six songs that you have, and I was like, I looked up, if they were covers or not, and I think all of them that are up are covers, right?
All but one. It's called Tu Crueldad. That was, I think, the second song, first or second song we recorded.
Okay.
That I between, well, I made the lyrics,
Hmm.
and my guitarist he made the kind of like the way that the music went.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so all
So
the other ones were covers, and I looked up, the original ones, or a lot of them have more than one version. Like other
yeah,
people have covered them, and something that I saw is, some people cover songs and they sound almost exactly the same as the original, which is fine. Like you can do like an homage to the original if that's your thing, but especially a song that has more than one cover, you kind of want to stand out in your genre, right?
yeah,
And what I've noticed is a lot of the covers you guys make sometimes come from a completely, maybe not a completely different genre, but something that's not exactly what in your guys' wheelhouse, and you guys transform it, and you guys make it feel like completely yours. Like when I'm listening to those songs, I'm at first I thought like these are originals, like these have to be originals, and then I look back, I was like, no, they're not. But like you guys really give it the feel. So
yeah.
I kudos to you guys for that.
I appreciate that, man. It's something that I think every band has to kind of work on, because it's very easy to, just get another band's cover, or get another band song and just copy it, record it, and make it yours. It's hard to do that. It's easy but hard at the same time, because it's gonna be hard to make it better than the person who recorded that song first.
Yeah.
So our thing is that we're always trying to record songs that nobody has,
Hmm.
or if they have it, just we have to change it completely.
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, if you want to bring people into your world, you kind of have to stand out from everybody else.
Hmm.
Otherwise, they could just go listen to somebody else. Why? Because it's the same material.
Is part of the reasoning of recording covers like being the first things that you guys put out part of that, like kind of like marketing? Like if someone's looking for a specific song, they'll like kind of like stumble upon your guys' music. Like it's a way to like kind of reach out, or is
Yeah.
it is it a different reason?
No, it's that's one of the main reasons. It's just the thing that if you're gonna start with your own band, like straight out of the gate with original songs,
Hmm.
is very hard,
Yeah.
because you might be a good musician, but you're not a good composer.
Hmm.
So you might you might be great playing the sax, and but you might be a shitty
Writing is
writer.
completely different. Yeah.
Yeah. So um for beginners, I think it's one of the easiest ways, easiest routes to just go after a song, maybe from even a different genre.
Hmm.
Um, our genre, there's a lot of bands in Texas, and
Hmm.
there's ones called La Maquinaria Norteña, and they started back in the 90s, man. Well, the musicians, they started back in the 90s. They were
Yeah.
with really really famous bands, and then back in like 2006 or 8, they their brothers, they made their own band, which is they called it La Maquinaria Norteña.
Hmm.
um, and they started just getting um, people to compose songs specifically for them,
Hmm.
and it worked for a while, man. But then everybody kind of just started, you know going away,
Yeah.
because the writers that they had, they weren't really, that great. So all, that kind of just started going away, and they started outsourcing to covers,
Hmm.
just from different genres.
Yeah.
They play a cover. Um, I forget this guy's name, but he's a really good composer. But he's just like a hippie, man. Like he's just, like up in the clouds and everything. But he's a really good composer, and he
Hmm.
he made a song. It's called Las Fuentes de Ortiz.
Uh-huh.
So they made it into, norteño, which is just a whole different whole different vibe from the original song,
Uh-huh.
and they made it theirs, man. It was a big hit, had millions of views and visits.
I was gonna say like a lot of the times those like crossover covers, like they tend to like pick up so much, like so many more people, because like people that love the original, they hear this other one, and if done properly, if done like with love and care for the music, a fan of the previous genre would be like, oh shit, like I never listened to norteño before, but like this shit, like, it's good. Like,
It's
I
good.
like
Yeah.
what they do. And like, I was actually thinking about this earlier. The whole thing with like Snoop Dogg doing stuff with like, Banda MS, like that is like I think is like genius marketing for both of them. Like they both got like a huge bump in audience, and
Yeah.
they made a really cool song together.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see how like that it feeds your creativity because like you're rewriting a song essentially,
Yeah.
like the instrument part of it.
Yeah.
And it also, it like works out. It can like send you to the moon, like if it hits.
If it hits, dude, and it's really cool to see, like you just mentioned, Snoop Dogg and Banda MS. Dude, you basically have the two biggest artists from two completely different
Yeah.
genres. And they made a big ass hit, dude. It had millions of views within days.
Yeah, because people are talking like no way, like rap and banda mesa like
And they
combined,
made it
like
work.
yeah, they made it work.
Everybody made it work, dude, and it sounded bad. Dude, it was a bitching song. I still listen to it.
Because it gets people that used to like not listen to that into that, like vice versa.
Yeah, and the judgmental part kind of goes away.
Hmm.
But dude, it's incredible to see stuff like that happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, you're like, oh, all right, dude.
As a fan of just like any like musicians in general, like when people collaborate back and forth, like it's always good to see, like for like we were talking about posting stuff on social media because people, you want to give them what they want all the time.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, like people maybe they didn't know they wanted Snoop Dogg and Bun That together, but like once it was given to them, like this is what I was looking for.
Exactly. And it's kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
Because you're never really gonna see that again. Um and everything it comes down to basically they're pretty much creating a new genre.
Hmm.
And because you have so many talented kids nowadays, because they're playing that, they have the corridos tumbados,
Hmm.
it's something that I personally don't like, but they're great musicians. And it that came from pretty much hip hop,
Hmm.
because it was just kids that parents grew up in the 90s
Hmm.
listening to, like Chalino Sanchez and El Tigrillo Palma, which is kind of like just three guitars and that's it. It's like a trio.
Okay.
But they incorporated that with hip hop, pretty much sang in Spanish, and they have a whole new genre.
That's
And it picked up a lot, dude. Like there's this guy, he's got a lot of hate, but I mean I give it up to him, dude. His name is Nathanael Cano.
Hmm.
He's got millions of followers and he's always smoking and stuff, but dude, he's got talent and people don't want to accept it, but
Okay, I admire what you're saying right now because like whenever like there's like this big like flare up, but like an artist like pops up out of nowhere and like mixing genres here and there, a lot of people tend to hate on it. Like you mentioned him, I'm thinking of the guy that did like Old Town Road. Like people didn't like that he was mixing like rap and country, right? And the older artists can be like, yeah, that's not music, or like, yeah, that's not really from the roots. But I admire that you're like, look, it's not my thing, but this guy's like really putting in the work. And because I've talked about that with previous guests on the podcast, like you kind of have to like see what the up and comers are doing, like what made them pop off, and be like, okay, maybe that's not my style, but like what can I learn from this person, like what
yeah,
are they doing right that I can apply to like
yeah.
my gig, like.
Yeah, it's just that you just have to look at things from a different perspective,
Hmm.
because I mean everybody's gonna hate on you for
Yeah.
for whatever reason, dude. Everybody's gonna hate on you. There's people that, well, in my business, well, there's this one dude. He's that just says it all, dude. He's very dramatic. He speaks his mind out. He doesn't give a shit about anything. Um, and people are hating on him because he's becoming really famous. Well, not famous, but he's just popular.
Hmm.
He went from maybe a couple years ago having maybe 2,000 followers to right now he's probably got maybe 100,000 followers. So,
Yeah.
but he's doing it the wrong way. Because for us, or at least for me, music has to be driven in by fans,
Mm.
and the channel, or whatever you're trying to throw out there, it's got to be something you know save for every age.
Mm.
And this guy is just he's just talking shit about everybody, and like
Uh,
he's doing his channel based on drama.
I was gonna say, yeah. Okay.
So everybody hates on him because of
He's a
that.
musician,
He's a
or
musician,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, he lives somewhere up north of Cali,
Hmm.
but everybody hates on him because he's doing it based on drama. I don't hate on him because he's doing things right, dude. I mean, he's basically not even like living off of music.
Mm.
He's basically living off of the money that social media pays him with all the drama he makes.
Yeah,
So
that's like
all the haters are pretty much paying for everything.
that's dude. Of course, like when people hate on people like online, if you're buying their shit to see like, oh, I hope they fail or this or that, you're giving them money, dude. Like if you really don't want them to succeed, just don't buy anything
Ignore
from
him,
them. Yeah.
dude. Ignore him. Don't talk about him.
But
But haters they're never gonna stop, man. They're always gonna have something to talk about, and the more they dig into you, the more they're gonna find,
mhm.
the more they're gonna talk. But the better it's gonna be for you.
Yeah, I mean that's something that like we get into by posting our stuff online. If we perform like in a tiny room with, I don't know, maybe 50 to 100 people, it stays there, right? Like if
Yeah,
someone hates it, if they hate it that much and they're gonna come up to you after the show, fuck it, whatever. Like you get the hate. But if you
yeah.
put it online, it's gonna reach potentially thousands of people, and so it's kind of something you got to be ready for, is like that hate comment every now and then, and it's just gonna be everywhere.
It's
It's
just yeah. I mean, you kind of have to, like, if you're planning to getting on any business, any into any business that has to do with social media,
Mhm.
you kind of have to have that in mind, that once you expose yourself on anywhere, any platform, you're gonna have critics, and it's just you might not like it, but
I was like kind of like going off of that. I was kind of wondering because you said you started like really young, starting to play in the band. Like, how old were you when you first started playing like in front of a crowd?
probably 6.
6?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Okay.
So my dad in the early 2000s, he did his own little band in Mexico with his brothers and a couple cousins. They weren't great,
Hmm.
but they got the job done, and it was the only band around for miles.
That's business, man.
So so it worked out for them. Um, One time the drummer left. His woman was having a baby, and well, it was my cousin, but
Yeah.
yeah, his wife was having a baby, and there was this one time that he just couldn't go. He was like, dude, I'm not gonna miss the birth of my baby just because of that.
Hmm.
So my dad was like, well, you want to do it? I like, dude, come on. Like, I used to get tired playing just like one single song.
Hmm.
I start very strong with the drums, and then
Yeah.
by the end of the song, I was like dragging my knees.
Like all the cardio, dude.
So somehow I managed to play 5 hours, dude.
5 hours at 6 years
Five
old?
hours at 6 years old. Yeah, that was my first on stage performance, and it
Shit.
was, dude. I fell in love with it. I think that's where everything started.
Well, yeah, yeah. Like if you do it at 6 and you love it, it's gonna stay with you for the rest of your
Yeah.
life.
And a lot of it was just the attention, man. I had little kids lined up behind me just watching me play the drums for like hours, and they wouldn't move. Everybody else would be out
Hmm.
dancing or playing and running around, and
They're like, he's our age. He's
yeah, he
doing
was
it.
like, dude, he's making money right now. Like,
Like when you first stepped on stage like at 6, is there any part of you that's nervous, or you're just like this is what I was born for?
no, at 6, there was no nerves, dude. It
Oh
was
man.
like going onto the playground and just, jamming out. It was cool. Once it started turning like 18, 19, dude, that's kind of when like everything kind of like started getting
Hmm.
nerve wracking, because now I wasn't playing for just quinceañeras or birthday parties in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I was playing, for two, three, 400 people in front of a stage, and live audience, people who are just looking at you, waiting for you to start a song. And if you fucked up the start of the song, they're gonna start booing you off the stage.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nerve wracking. I don't want to be the one booed off the stage for the night.
Oh,
You know.
no one wants to be that guy. But like in a way, like it's like so cool that you got that experience at 6, like in a like quote unquote like safe environment where you felt comfortable like
Yeah.
to go up. to like get that confidence. Because if the first thing you ever do is, the first, ever you go up 200, 400 people, I'm sure that's gonna be like a mind fuck. Like you
Yeah.
were nervous, but you still had the experience of be like, okay, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be good.
Although I don't think you'll ever lose, your nerve when you go up on stage. Especially the more people, the more nerve wracking it gets.
Hmm.
Like we've played a few times at Pico Rivera at the sports arena
Yeah.
where there's 2,000, 3,000 people, and it's just like, dude, like it's mayhem down there, dude.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to you don't want anything to go wrong in the night.
Hmm.
But then once the first song starts, it's just like you just forget about everything.
I was just gonna ask you that because like with stand up, like I'm nervous going up. Once the first joke lands and I hear the first laugh, I'm good. The rest
Yeah,
of the night's
that's
fine.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's a safety net. And I know you said like when you're on stage you do like 10,000 different jobs. But I was wondering like when you're playing in front of that many people, I know you have all these other things to worry about. But is there like any space in your mind where you just get to like look out in the crowd and like be like, shit, I'm here, and I'm enjoying it?
All the time, dude.
Yeah,
All the time. Especially when you see a bunch of people dancing, I'm like,
yeah,
all right, dude. This this is what I was meant to do.
yeah.
When it gets a little bit more nerve wracking is when you don't see anybody dancing and you just see everybody just talking to themselves, like not really paying attention to you. And it has happened. There was this family, they were from Zacatecas, and all they were doing is they were just the tios were drinking and the comadres were talking, dude. And it was like we played 4 hours for them, and it was like, dude, are these people ever gonna dance?
Yeah.
And dude, we just had the little kids just running around between us, and it was the worst gig ever.
Yeah, I mean, when you invite like a live band over, I feel like it's implied that there's going to be some dancing going on. Like you're not hiring like a radio, right? You're hiring you could put the jukebox outside, but you're hiring a live band to like get the body moving.
Get yeah, exactly, man. It's live music is meant to be enjoyed. Um, I felt bad, but honestly, I felt bad for the guy that hired us because he paid a lot of money for people just to sit around talking to their comadre.
Hmm.
Um, I was there to do my job. I did my job. I don't. I try to not get feelings involved. So if I don't see them dancing, I'm still gonna do my job just as well as if everybody was having a good time.
Hmm.
Because if you go by your feelings, then it's gonna kind of make you feel a little bit shitty to see nobody paying attention,
Yeah,
and you're gonna play shitty. If you feel shitty, you're gonna play shitty.
yeah.
But I try not to let that get to me, dude. It's not a good feeling.
Well, I mean, we don't want it to happen, but it happens like
Yeah,
every now and then. Hopefully, like the further you go in your career, it happens less and less.
yeah,
But it's always a possibility. And the thing is, like, I feel like at first I used to take it personally, but like it's just they probably hate me, this or that. But you go to learn, like, okay, maybe my jokes weren't that good, but maybe they were having a bad night. The place wasn't right. Like you start
yeah,
like being like, I've had good sets before. I've had sets where people dance all the time.
yeah.
This is just a fluke, and we'll be back on top tomorrow. Like it'll be fine.
I think that has the vibe of the night, dude. It's weird, but when you can go to different places, um, and or you can even go to the same places different night, and you'll feel a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
There's this one club in Southgate. It's called Lido's, dude. That club's been there since like the 80s.
Hmm.
Um, they have music Thursday through Monday, and they have like different genres of Mexican, like Latino genre. So
Hmm.
like uh, Thursdays they have norteño, like norteño with sax, which is what I play.
Yeah.
Fridays they try to have like banda with norteño, and then Saturdays they have like a santanera with norteño. Like they
Hmm.
always try to incorporate the norteño.
Got it.
But then if you go on a Thursday, it's a whole different vibe from a Saturday, dude. Like
Yeah.
Saturday, you'll walk in there, you're like, dude, this is like the 80s, dude. Like you'll see viejitos dancing all over, and the music is different. It gets packed, dude, and it's like you go on Thursdays. Sometimes there's maybe 80 people in there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, there's 400 or 500 people, but
Mm-hmm.
if the all the bands that they hired, if they're not really good bands,
Mm-hmm.
or there's another event going on
Yeah.
that affects it, you're gonna notice that on a Saturday there's nothing affecting it, dude. Everybody just gets up and go, and there's or I think there used to be, dude, this old couple. They were probably in their 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and they love dancing, man. Every Sunday they would go every Sunday, and you'll just see them. You'll just see the men, dancing on one side, cumbias. They'll be giggling right there, but the men would always be on one side of the dance floor.
Uh-huh.
The women would be in the completely opposite side of the dance floor, dude. When the song finished, they would just look for each other, go sit down.
Oh, they were just vibing out by themselves.
They were just going at it, dude, and it was just amazing. And I have a picture with the old man,
Mm-hmm.
and dude, it was heartbreaking when I heard that he passed away, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was like, dude, they were kind of like the vibe of the Sunday, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would go to Lido's, and the first thing you expect to see, it's this 85-year-old man just dancing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you'll never see that in a club.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's bingo.
And I feel like sometimes the audience doesn't know like how much you're actually paying attention to everyone while you're on stage, and like
Yeah.
how someone like that can make your night. Like just see them dancing and see them be happy. You're like, I'm glad I could participate somewhat like in this happening.
Dude, you'll for sure at least break a smile with that,
Yeah.
because it's just like, and you won't let me lie. If you walk into the stage, you walk on stage, you look, you scan the room to
Mm-hmm.
see who's close to you.
Yeah.
Um, there might be somebody sitting on a table where everybody's laughing and they're kind of like shitty. And then if you make them laugh at the end of the night, like you see them laughing, you're like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Sometimes I don't know if you do the same thing, but sometimes if I see, if I like, because I get to see other comedians go up before me, and I kind of see like how the crowd's doing. If I'm on later, and sometimes there'll be those people like, okay, and I get on stage and I see them, and I kind of make it like my personal mission to like make
To
them
make 'em-
laugh.
yeah.
And I wonder if you have the same thing. You're like, man, those people haven't really like stood up all night. We're gonna be the ones that like get them to stand up. And if you do it, you're like, fuck yeah, I did it.
Like, it was worth it, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time, dude. Because there's always gonna be that one couple that they probably got in a fight there, or or on the way there.
Yeah.
And
You can just see.
yeah, you just feel their vibe, dude. And a lot of the times they're probably be in the VIP section, which is really close to the stage.
Mhm.
And you'll see that lady, man.
Oh.
That girl just,
That's the worst when
stare down.
it's the worst when the people in the front are the ones not having a good time.
Yeah,
Because like
dude.
you could have the whole people in the back having the time of their lives, but if you have a couple people in the front, it's just like seeing one bad comment in a YouTube section out of 100. You're just like, yeah, but these people though, they're not having a good time. What do I do?
It's dude, it's shitty to see that, because that they're paying money to have a good time, but at least in music, dude, it has a lot to do with how how we kind of like paint the room at first.
Mhm.
But it has happened to us that a lot of the times the couple that's not having fun is because we don't know their song.
Ah.
So they'll like, the man probably reach out like, hey, do you know this song? I'm like, dude, I don't know it. I can play you something similar to it, but
Mhm.
he's like, that's our song. So then they'll just sit down the rest of our hour and just not even dance.
And the thing is, like, it sucks, but you also can't take it personally. You're like, it just wasn't meant to be tonight for you guys. Like, I'm sorry. And especially like if you're, going to the clubs and people tend to request a lot of songs, I imagine. There's no fucking way you know all of them. You probably know like, the greatest hits, right? But like someone's gonna come up with some obscure song. You're like, I'm aware of that song, but we have to rehearse this shit. Like we can't just,
Yeah,
come up with it on the spot.
dude, that and between that and having people call me for gigs, that they tell me, it's just gonna be a little party, dude. You don't even have to bring speakers. Just like,
Like, do you know how music
like,
works?
dude, like, and then it sucks because that kind of makes you feel like some type of way. You're just like, dude, really, like I'm trying hard, and these
Hmm.
guys over here just trying to lowball me on 20 years of
Yeah.
hard work,
Hmm.
and it sucks. But there's more. There's a lot more understanding people than people that are pretty much clueless of what goes into music or what goes into pretty much any career. I heard a buddy of mine once tell me this. It's like, look, Picasso was at a freaking cafe drinking a coffee, dude. Lady walks up to him. He's all like, "Hey, aren't you Picasso, that famous artist?" They're like, "Well, yes, I am." Like, "Hey, can you do a sketch of me?" So like, "Yeah, sure can." Lady sits down, and then 2 minutes later, he finishes little sketch of the lady, and like, all right, it's gonna be $40,000. Like, what? Why $40,000? He's like, well, it only took me about 40 years of practice.
Yeah.
So this didn't take 2 minutes. It took 40 years.
Exactly.
So that between that and clueless people that they don't mean to offend you, but they're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, because people think, okay, I'm hiring him for 5 hours, right? And I'll pay for 5 hours of what I think 5 hours is worth. But the more you go on your career and you start realizing your self worth and like the worth of like all the work that you've put in. And sometimes you just like I imagine sometimes you just have to let people down slowly and be like, look, man, like
Yeah.
I would have charged you this maybe 10 years ago, but I've learned a lot since then. We've practiced a lot more since then. Shit's gotten better. There's gonna be this much.
Yeah. All the time, dude. I still have customers from 2016 when I first started that they still want me to charge them, the $300 an hour that I charged back then.
Hmm.
I'm like, dude, no, like, we have a lot more work now, so
We're trying to record
yeah,
singles every
like,
month.
dude, if I would still charge $300, I'm pretty sure I would have a gig every day of the week.
Hmm.
But I mean, I don't, and the part of the reason is I would be working too hard to even make a dollar.
Hmm.
You know, like they don't think about all the money that goes into music. An instrument is not a $300 thing, dude.
Hmm.
My accordion's worth like $12,000.
Shit.
So you need a lot of hours to pay it out.
Hmm.
The sound equipment, you won't let me lie, it's freaking expensive.
Yeah.
Not only that, you need a computer. You need Nowadays everything is digital. Nowadays, everything kind of goes uh, out of the hands of whoever. Like before, you had that analog mixer,
Hmm.
so it was cool. You have like 10 buttons in a volume. Cool.
Yeah.
Now everything's everything's through a freaking tablet that you can barely even understand.
Yeah.
So now I have to hire somebody to, an engine, audio engineer to go once in a while to make sure that everything is up to date with the mixer and all these other things. I have to be upgrading speakers every once in a while because they'll probably bring a new model out and it's gonna be a lot cheaper and better than the ones I have. So
Hmm.
everything kind of has to. It's just a circle, dude.
Yeah, like you could, charge 300 an hour and you could work, like you said, you could be booked every night. But I guess it depends like what you want to do as an artist, because like you could do that and maybe just do that.
Yeah.
But if you want to record a single every month, which is what you guys have as a goal, it goes into rehearsal time, studio time, all these things that costs a little bit more money and more
Yeah.
time that you wouldn't have if you were booked every night. So it's kind of like you kind of have to balance it out and see what your
Yeah.
goals are like long term.
Yeah. And you just reminded me of my guitarist. Um, $300 an hour. People are like, "Damn, dude, that's a lot of money." I'm like, "Nah, dude."
We'll split how many ways? And then
Yeah, like we got to split it 5 ways, so
Mhm.
it's barely about 50-60 bucks.
Yeah.
But um, my guitarist, he used to be heavy metal guitar player.
What?
Yeah, dude. So he's all like, dude, he's like, dude, when I used to be playing with heavy metal, he's like, we just used to play for free. He's like, we used to go to the bars and just perform for a couple of beers, dude.
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, for real, they don't charge? He's like, nah, dude, all they want is just to jam out. I'm like, dude, that's fucking crazy. Like, I would never do that. He's all
Uh,
like, dude, when I heard that Mexicans are paying for performing, that I
Mhm.
was gonna be making money out of playing music. Is like, fuck the metal, dude. I'm going
Let's
over
switch
there.
genres. Let's go.
Yeah, dude. And so he used to play after when he got out of that heavy metal band. He went to a corrido band. Back in the day, it was like Gerardo Ortiz and
Mhm.
Larry Hernandez were kind of like the big thing. Um, and then he's like, dude, that was hard work. He's like, we used to play 10, 12 hours nonstop, dude. He's like, I would have bloody fingers from the guitar
I
at
can
the end.
imagine. Yeah.
He's like, it was insane, dude. He's like, I'll never go back to that. Like, money's not good enough to put you through that.
He went from not making anything to then working like overtime and
Like,
like
too
kind of like
much.
balancing out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it's too much, dude. So he's like, he enjoys playing with sax because it's just, you know, it's good music that the whole family can enjoy.
Mhm.
You don't want the corridos listening. You don't want that. It's like the new hip hop thing. They're
Yeah.
talking about banging this and doing that, and it's pretty much the same thing with our music. They
Mhm.
they have certain songs that are just talking about smoking weed and doing coke and
Yeah.
meth or whatever, dude. And I don't want my kids listening to that.
It all like it all goes back to like what kind of audience you want, what kind of future you want for your
Yeah,
band. Like because you once you cement that, it's really hard to like switch it up completely. Like you can't gain the fame talking about weed and all that
yeah,
stuff. You can get a whole following, and then you're like, okay, listen, guys, this is really what I wanted to make. This is actually what I want. People are gonna dip out. Like you
yeah.
really need to build it up from like what you do.
Absolutely, dude. It's everything is about looking where you want to be, not looking at where you're at.
Yeah.
Because there's two different types of musicians, I can say. There's the one that's after the money, and then there's the one that's after the fame.
Hmm.
It's like, what do you want? Do you want money or do you want fame? Because you can get both, but you have to be like a band with thousands of followers.
Yeah.
Um, if for somebody that's starting, I think I'd rather do the money.
Hmm.
I can make a lot more money, playing 4 hours in LA than if I'd be touring around the US because I have a lot of friends. My drummer used to be in a band called Cumbre Norteña.
Hmm.
They've been around since the 90s. He played with them for 8 years, but they were local to LA.
Hmm.
So they go on tours once in a while. Um, and they would make their money. But then the owner moved out to Chicago. So once they moved out to Chicago, the drummer was had to fly every Thursday from LA to Chicago and come back every Monday.
Fuck.
So it was a lot of work. And he would tell me, he's like, dude, I'm not making money at all.
Hmm.
There's sometimes that it's a $50 ride from my house to the airport on the Uber. It's like it's cheaper than leaving my car parked at the airport
But still, like every week.
every week. He's like, then there's $50 from the airport at Chicago to my hotel, and then
Yeah.
another 50 back. He's like, just on Ubers, I'm spending about $200.
Hmm.
That's not even counting the hotel. It's not even counting the food, and it's not counting,
The
every
lost time.
every little other thing that you just add to. It's like, dude, we're on the van on the tour. You know, we're just stopping for gas, and I don't know where everybody starts getting off the van, going to buy chips, going to buy this,
Hmm.
that, and it's like, dude, you make $800 a weekend, you end up spending $600 on everything else,
Yeah, like it was a fun weekend, but like, do I want to do
like
this every
200 for two
weekend?
hundred
Yeah.
bucks. Yeah, he's like, dude. So he got out of it because of that.
Mm.
It was a really good band, dude. He's like, dude, I would hate doing this, but he's like, dude, I have to.
Hmm.
There's no way that I'm gonna. He's like, there's no way that I'm gonna make money by spending it like this.
Yeah.
And it, it's funny because I just went to Phoenix on, I think it was like January 8th. We were out in Phoenix performing.
Hmm.
We just went just for an hour. That's it. That's all they paid us.
Hmm.
But I was charging good. I was charging enough money to cover
The
all the
trip.
expenses, the trip, and then so we didn't have to make $100 just for that because, dude, it's a 5-hour drive,
Yeah.
and plus the food, and then we didn't even get a hotel.
Just drive
So
drive
just
back.
drive back. So we were up for like 24 hours, and it was it's a lot of work, dude.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but like I'm glad that you're like actually, putting your foot down and be like, look, this is how much we're worth. If you want us to go to Phoenix, this is how much you have to pay us.
Yeah.
And like even if it's just for 1 hour, like it might have been like a hard day, but still like now you're like playing to audiences in Phoenix that maybe they looked up your band on Instagram or on YouTube,
Oh yeah.
little by little, like
Yeah.
things start happening.
That's and you start noticing right away. I'm sure your pages they have a certain section where they tell you where your
That
most followers are from, or the new followers where they're coming in from.
yeah.
And that same week we started getting followers from Phoenix. We already had a couple, but the guy was surprised because it was a sold out show. So so he's like, dude, like I've never seen this place so packed.
Hmm.
I'm like, what do you mean, dude? Like there's big bands that come and play. He's like, yeah, but he's like, I have another club, across the street, and they also make, pretty much the same type of events that I do. So it's like there's no much money. There's not a lot of
Hmm.
money to be made in Phoenix.
Hmm.
It's like it's a small city. I'm like, dude, well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I see the parking lot is pretty much packed.
Hmm.
So, and then my drummer had been there before with Cumbre. He's like, dude, I've never seen this
Hmm.
place so packed. Like, this is cool. It's nice.
Yeah.
Um, and then they just call me back for another day. So hopefully we'll be back over there pretty soon.
That's good to hear, man. Because like little by little things start happening, and I was just about to say like if you sold it out, I'm sure they're gonna call you back for another one because as much as you guys charge, I'm sure they made a lot of money
They made a
themselves.
lot of money, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything, like we were talking earlier, everything has to do with who you know, or who you know that might know somebody that knows someone,
Yeah.
you know. Um, everything, and a lot of the things have to do with what material you put out, dude. Like we were talking earlier about, you know, uh, doing the videos for YouTube and managing social media. You could be putting material out there, but if it's not important material that people want to listen to, they're not gonna they're not gonna really show up. You might get one or two, but you might not get the reactions that you might expect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Completely agree. Like when I started this podcast, like I was in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna have someone on every day for as long as this goes on. I burned out super quick, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have, every season 10 people, the best 10 people that I can find, and that's what's been better. Like even if it's not posting every week, it's very much like quality over quantity.
yeah,
And I've seen a lot of good response, like people that come on here that get a couple more followers, like it helps out, it helps everyone out. But on top, like I'm happier doing like less but better, and it just kind of like feeds into everything else, like how well the page is doing, how well we're doing here in the conversation, like it just helps out tremendously, like everything.
and you just said something that it's very important: quality versus quantity.
Yeah.
Because it got to a point with my old drummer. He was taking care of the videos on YouTube. He was just posting out whatever, dude. And I'm like, dude, you cannot be doing that. Like, you have to be listening to the videos you post. And like, what if you recorded a video or a song where I forgot the lyrics,
Hmm.
or a freaking loogie came out, dude? Like,
Hmm.
that's bad publicity for the band. Like they're gonna know you for whatever you upload, and then he would get mad. He's like, well, fuck it, then do it yourself.
Well, I mean,
I
it is a lot of work, but like, if done properly, it's like it's so much better. Like that's how you come up with like a there's been like so many like scandals like on YouTube where just like, oh, they posted an unedited clip. Their editor was just doing so much at the
yeah,
time that they released something that they said something super offensive and they were supposed to edit it out or whatever. There's just so many examples of that, and not necessarily because like you might be doing something that you don't want people to see. You just want the quality to be the best that it
yeah,
can be when it's going out.
yeah, and just quality, dude. I've seen it's countless of videos that I've seen on Facebook. It's like those videos that they just want to entertain you for 10 minutes and not really show a content. Like they'll probably try to, like an example, probably try to show you how to open a car with the paperclip,
Hmm.
and
And you're like,
That
10 minutes, really?
yeah, that'll go on for 10 minutes. I'm like, dude, is there people that really sit here for 10 minutes and like watch this shit?
Yeah.
Um, and the first thing you do, go to the comments.
Hmm.
And then you see everybody, can't believe you wasted my time. I'm like, dude.
Dude, I always admire, like, I always, like, I'm so grateful for those comments are just like, skip to this minute and you'll be fine. This is what you came for.
Oh, dude, lifesavers right there.
And like,
Uh,
as a creator, if you see that, you're like, oh, okay. First of all, people, if people aren't watching it, might as well make it shorter or like,
yeah,
whatever.
I'm a motorcycle rider, so for me, it's like YouTube is a very, very big platform to learn
Hmm.
what very expensive schools will teach you.
Yeah.
And I always appreciate, something that if they tell you, if you want to learn this, go to this second, or they'll put it in the information,
Yeah.
exactly what you want to learn to what time of the video it's gonna appear. But dude, it's posting videos or posting content online. It's not easy, dude.
I agree, dude. And like, to that point, we're talking about equality over quantity. I could talk to you like I've really enjoyed this conversation. I'm sure we could talk for like hours.
Hours.
Like I don't remember what we talked about at that quinceañera, but I remember like really just having a good time talking to you. And like I'm like based on how this is going, we could talk forever, but we got to end it at some point. And it's kind of it's getting to that point right now. And but I don't want to let you leave before asking you something that I ask every guest before the show is over. And you've shared a little bit of wisdom, throughout the interview. But if you could just boil it down, like if you said you started the band, 2016 ish, right? Around there. If you could go back now with like what you've learned over the last 6 years, what kind of advice would you give to yourself, starting off?
Dude, again, quality over quantity, dude. Yeah, everything just I guess, more dedication.
Hmm.
Because at first I think that's why the band's been out for so long and we haven't got as far as I would have wanted to, because of the quality and the dedication that you know we as a band didn't have at first. um for anything, dude, I think that for anything that you're trying to learn, you got to dedicate time out of your life, and at a certain point sacrifice, you know family time or quality time with friends to to do what you want. Otherwise, it's not gonna get far. Yeah, it's just you're gonna come to a point where it's gonna be you're gonna become swamped and stuck in a point where it's gonna be hard to get out of, because you're just gonna be used to doing things a certain way. That at a certain point you're gonna be like, all right, dude, I'm tired of this shit. Bye.
Yeah.
So
I love it, dude. It goes back to what you said. You practice at least 1 hour a day, and
yeah,
you wouldn't be here.
now I do. Back then I didn't.
Exactly. Oh, well, thank you so much for being on, Beto. I
Dude,
learned a lot from our conversation, and I hope people listening learn a lot
I'm
from it too.
grateful to be here, dude. Thanks for the invitation.
All right, man. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Appreciate it.